What is going on, guys? Patrick here. We're going to have three stops today in this week's live thrifting video. First stop of the day was a Goodwill. I don't normally come to this one anymore. It's been kind of crap lately. And what I found is if I go to Savers first and then come here, it just seems like it's very empty. So I tried something new. They actually open up an hour before Savers. So I was like, I'm going to head over there first and just see if I can find anything interesting. And you can see I like to go through the games here first. It seems like the shelves actually have a good amount of stuff on them. And there actually was a pretty interesting looking board game there. Mall Madness is sitting back there, which, if you can find the right version of it, actually has some good value. That one's a little bit newer though, so I decided to leave it today. Headed over to the electronics section, and oh, there's a nice little VCR there. Only problem is they were looking for $12 for it. And if you guys have seen some of my other recent videos, VCRs have not been my friend lately. I would say about two out of three of them have just been dead on arrival. And so I've just been leaving them if they're that much. If it's like $4, maybe we'll see if Savers has any for the $4 this week. But yeah, just not going to even worry about them at $12, that's for sure. I just ended up throwing them away. I know some people, especially when they buy them from Goodwill, they return them. But when I've done that, I see that same VCR just back out on the shelf again later, and some other reseller is going to end up buying it, and it's just going to be a cycle. So for me, my advice is just throw them in the garbage and just take the cost for what it was. I did take a look at the bags here. It looks like there's a good amount of stuff up on the shelf, but nothing really caught my eye. Books, though, like I have done very well on books at this Goodwill in the past. There's definitely some holes up there right now, so it looks like they're a little bit on the low end of their inventory. Man, during the summer, I love selling Hardy Boys books. We can get them for like a quarter each. They're really good sellers. I think they were asking $1 each here, so that's just a little bit outside of what I want to pay for them. But what's this? This whole shelf full of Stephen King hardcover books and a few soft covers. There's another Dark Tower book. You guys have seen me pick these up a few times over the last few weeks. There are the paperback versions, but they're actually in really nice condition. So I did end up putting those into my cart. The rest of the books, surprisingly, only $1 each, even for the hardcovers. It's actually not a bad pickup at that price. But to be perfectly honest, I've actually got probably 20 of these things sitting trying to get sold, and I've got some that I have not listed yet, so I decided to leave it there. I did grab that one. I think it was may have been Desperation, because I actually sold that one by itself recently for $10. And I know if you get the companion book to it, you can actually get more like $20 free shipping, something like that for it. So it's like actually not a bad little pickup on its own, especially not for $1. So right, I've actually found a couple textbooks here over the years. I found a couple other books where if you scan it, especially on Amazon, and look it up, this has been pretty good for me. Unfortunately, today was not going to really be that day. I didn't see anything that really stood out to me. I think if I wasn't so worried about getting over to Savers, that I could have done a little bit more looking in the store. These giant knife, the spoon and fork sets, like I've seen Dominic Carone, the primetime treasure hunter, I've seen him pick these up and sell them in the like $20 to $50 range. These were priced at I think $25 for the set though, so there wasn't a lot of meat on the bone there. All right, like I said, I was having it's a little bit of FOMO, so I headed over to Savers, made sure to get there right about as they opened. I think I was getting out of the car when they were letting people in, which I'm sure as a reseller, as you guys all know, that can just be just a lot of anxiety. And I headed back to the electronics. There were a few people who'd walked by here, but nobody had grabbed anything. And first thing I saw was that Magnavox VCR there. Luckily, $4, so that went in the cart. And then in a second here, I'm going to grab a second VCR, which actually is like a strange kind of off-brand. It did go in the cart. Come back tomorrow. See what I purchased. See if I actually picked that up or not, because I definitely was going to look it up before I left the store. I had definitely had a little bit more time today than I've had in the last few weeks, so I made sure to look through some of the different shelves. And oh, I'm seeing an item on the bottom shelf that I'm going to put in my cart in a second. But I was just, you can see I'm being pretty methodical. There is a little slide projector there on the bottom shelf, which you can see me grabbing right now. So made sure to put that in the cart and look it up. Again, come back tomorrow, see if I ended up picking it up or not. But it's an interesting little find. Of course, I think you and I both know the Kodak ones are really where it's at. Those have a good amount of resale value. They can sell anywhere from like $50, $60 all the way up to like $150. So next stop, headed over to the toys. You can see that lady there on the end. She had a pile of stuff on the floor. So she had already pretty much picked through a lot of the stuff, which that's the risk, right? Depending on what section you go to and what your niche is. You can also see that these pegs are much emptier than they've been in the last few weeks. It looks like they finally just got rid of some of the stuff that wasn't selling, which made sense. There was just a lot of filler up on the shelves, lots of bags of Lego that just weren't moving. So headed over here to the bigger toys section. There's board games right up on top there, and just started looking through here. You can see that I'm not stopping. There's a couple interesting things, and you can see, oh, there's maybe something good there. I must have found something, but I didn't put anything in the cart. I know I do end up putting something in the cart from down here. Oh my gosh, there's a Buzz Lightyear right there that I didn't even see. That Buzz Lightyear is usually pretty good. I've sold him a few times if it's the right one. I was distracted by this Jurassic Park toy though, so I totally missed that Buzz Lightyear. How interesting. I tell you what, guys, ever since I've started doing this, it's like it really shows like how in the moment we are with certain things and how overwhelmed we can get when finding something that you just end up missing stuff. All right, so next stop, I actually skipped going to the case for now, and I skipped going back through like the media, and I headed over here to the kitchen stuff. Right, this has been something I've been really studying the last couple weeks, ever since Amanda and I went out to thrifting together, and I've just been like focusing on looking up this stuff, looking into some of the different brands, and that Pampered Chef one I put in the cart, which I will look up before I leave. I was on my list of things to look for. Pampered Chef stoneware was something I knew I should be looking for. And I think it was I was unpriced when I picked it up. So I did end up taking it to the front and looking and making sure that it was a reasonable price before making a determination on whether I should buy it or not. So looking through here, right, I've got a new list of stuff that is like, I mean, Pyrex obviously, but I'm also going to be looking for oh man, a bunch of different stuff now. So I need to probably do a little more studying because even off the cuff right now, I'm not doing a good job of remembering these names. But All Clad, Revere Wear, Williams Sonoma, Romertoff, of course, you know, Le Creuset. That one there that I'm holding is a Pyrex, and it's like their primary color set. By itself, if it was in much better condition than that, they're selling for about $20. The sets that I was seeing, if you have all four of them in the different primary colors, they're nesting mixing bowls basically then, can sell for a considerable amount. But you guys saw that it was kind of beat up. But right, I'm looking for Emily Henry. I'm looking for Chantal. Right, this is just my new list of stuff that I'm going to be looking for outside of the ones that I already looked for, which is right Nordic wear. I'm going to be looking for Le Creuset. I'm going to be looking for any of the cast iron stuff, right? Which so I'm just trying to expand my knowledge in this section. Let me know down in the comments below if you think that I should make a video about how to research a new category. That's been something I've been really thinking about. This bugs the heck out of me, right? Like I'm clearly looking at these shelves, and these ladies just decided we're just going to walk right in front of you. Nobody said excuse me, and they've actually totally blocked me in over here now, where I was still kind of looking in this aisle, and now it's a little bit harder to do what I wanted to do. So I know I try to be courteous of other people who are shopping, but just they were not very courteous to me. So it rubbed me a little bit the wrong way. But you can see even over here on the other side here, not a lot of stuff on the shelf. I did come back on the other side there and made sure to look and see what else there might be. But I figured, well, for now, since I'm having a hard time seeing what's there, I'll go around the corner. You can see that rotisserie is still up there. That's been up there for like 2 weeks now. They want $25. And true, I think I could probably sell it on eBay for like $100 if I didn't already own two of them that are sitting in my storage unit unlisted. So I've made myself a deal. I cannot buy any more of them until I go through my death pile that's in my storage unit. All right, so I headed up here to a couple aisles towards the front of the store, and I was like, I don't really know what's going to be here. I'm just trying to do some more learning, right? Just trying to figure out where else there might be some of these items that I'm researching. Is it just going to be back there in the pots and pans and like bakeware, or are they going to be putting some of those types of things up here towards the front? It looks like this is more like serving platters. But right, I'm just going to continue to go to these sections and continue learning. I just think like there is not an untapped thing here, but just some more stuff that I could learn about in my own personal knowledge and just be able to expand my capabilities as a seller, right? I just want to just continuously add more and more categories. My goal is sort of like Bonafide Hustler, right? I want to learn like the top 10% of every category so that I can know here are the best brands in these categories to look for. Something that I don't have to be like, oh, well, in this brand you can only buy the yellow kind, or in this brand you can only buy the bigger ones. Like I just want to be able to be like, oh, that brand, right? All clad, just buy it. You're probably going to do well on it if you can get it cheap enough, right? Le Creuset is kind of one of those as well, where I'm like, I just know I can buy Le Creuset and I'm going to get some money out of it. Some of them are going to be home runs. Some of them are going to be in the like $20 to $50 range. And you may have to pay a little bit more for them because people know those brands, but you're probably going to do all right on them most of the time. I have not started studying any of these types of like flatware sets. Amanda did say that there's definitely some that could be good. So just kind of walking by and looking at them now. And of course, I looked at the mugs. I still like to look for something that's good, maybe a Starbucks, something like that. All right, so I headed up to the front of the store, and
That guy is ridiculous.
first thing that I noticed actually was this Jim Shore sculpture up on top, which, right, I really like the look of these guys. We have several here that my wife and I have collected. And he's definitely like Christmassy looking. He looks like one of the three wise men. And so I definitely looked him up. Put him up on screen right here now. The first one, I thought it was part of a set of three. And it looked like there weren't any sold in that were just a single one. And this guy was about 20 inches tall, and I didn't realize that when I was in the store that the sets that I'm looking at up here only 10 inches tall. And so later on, I went back and looked online, and I'm gonna put this other one up here right now. You can see that there's actually two sold that were these 20-inch guys, and one of them sold for like $30, and the other one was over 100. So I ended up putting them back. And even now, like when I'm filming this after the fact, I have this regret of putting it back. I just hate that I missed out on it. I remember that I got home and Amber, my wife, was like, "Well, do you want to go back? Maybe we can go and buy him." And I'm just like, "No, I'm almost guaranteed this guy got sold by now." And true, he was $10, but I mean, I think I probably could have turned him into at least $30 to $40. If not, maybe I could have gotten like closer to the 100. That one had said it had the box though, so I'm not really sure how much the value there would have been, but almost guaranteed I could have made some money there. So I always just hate leaving money on the table. The poker term is like when you didn't win enough in the hand that you were in, you left money on the table. So that's what I feel like I did there in the Savers. Strangely, somebody must have looked this up. There was this interesting looking model over here, which I don't know much about models, but I do see a few of the other guys that I follow on YouTube posting about these and saying, "Oh yeah, this was a good model. It's a good pickup." This is one of those categories where I'm like, I don't know anything about it, but they're still fascinating to me. I used to love to build those when I was young. Walking back, this is like their wood aisle, and I saw this in-out box. Some of these I have done super well on, like probably $50 plus on a few of them. That one was teacher centric. I did look it up and I didn't find any comps, and I was just like, you know what? I don't really want to deal with this right now. So back it went. And then I saw this really interesting looking like curio cabinet down there that had stained glass on the front, which I'm assuming that's probably another category that has some following. Maybe I could do well there. Didn't know anything about it. Didn't look like it was going to be part of something I could easily do comps on. And you can see it was a little bit damaged, so I made sure to put it back. So I headed back to the book section here, right? You guys know that I like sci-fi and fantasy. And what did I find down here on the bottom? This is the second book in that set that I was telling you about I found the first one at the Goodwill earlier in the morning, and here's the second one. Of course, they want $3.99 for it at Savers versus the dollar at Goodwill, but I still think I can sell the set of them for $20 with free shipping. So I headed here. This is the third Goodwill of the day, or third and final stop of the day. Here's my friend from last week. Here is that slide projector. The first thing I did when I walked in was look at what color was 50% off this week, and it was green. And sure enough, when I picked up the slide projector, the $50 price tag on it, green, meaning it is half off and only $25 this week. And I think I mentioned that in last week's video. Like that's where I'd be a player on. It was probably around $20 because I think I can probably get $100 for this thing. And at 50, I didn't know if it worked. I was just like, you know what? I'm just not going to be a player on this. So I put it back last week. It was still here. They actually moved it from the electronics section, up into the case. And so I made sure to put it in my cart this week. All right, so now I headed back to the rest of the electronics section. I have sold things similar to this, where it's like a tracer, where you can project something up on the wall and then you would paint over it, something like that. So I thought this looked like something interesting. So I was like, oh, okay, you know the rule. Put it in the cart, look it up. If it's no good, put it back later. Don't worry about it, and then just went through the electronics as usual. There's always interesting stuff here. If I was more interested in shipping like some heavier items, that Brother printer there in the bottom right hand corner, that one could probably do pretty well. But like, even though I'm good at shipping VCRs, like those printers, I am just afraid to buy them. I'd have to go in and start investing in a different size box, I think, right? Because I don't know what you guys do for boxes, but I buy a bunch of them in bulk so that I just have them and ready to use in a moment's notice. Then I don't have to be constantly scrounging for the right box size. I just kind of have a bunch of them. And right, if you get the right tools, you can cut them into different shapes sometimes, or even stick two of them together. Right? There's plenty of ways to make them work as is. And I just worry if I was starting to get into some of those printers that even though I can make some money off of it, it might be a little bit harder to ship than I want to do. So, not going to go into them just yet, but maybe soon. You might recognize this guy from my cover image for this video, right? I guess not really too much of a spoiler that I did end up buying him. He was priced at about $10. I've seen a few other guys on YouTube buying these, so I've been curious, like, is this something that I should be getting into? And I was just like, I looked him up on eBay before I left the store, and it was looking like he was selling for like $35 to $50. That was a little bit deceiving because some of the ones that are selling for more are looking like they're the same as this guy, but actually included the figures that came with them. So definitely got to pay attention to that sort of thing. Uh, but I did buy him. I will definitely keep you guys posted on if he sells or not. I will probably end up listing him for probably around 30 $35, something like that. All right, so I headed over to the bag section, and right away, this Sony camera bag backpack caught my eye. It just looked like it was a nice one. It's not really on my list of bags to be looking for, but I was like, you know what? I don't normally find a lot of bags at Goodwill or even at Savers. Let's just go ahead and find. If my gut is telling me to look it up, maybe I should actually look it up. So that's what I did. I've actually found a few good like tennis racket bags here over the years and been able to sell them. And starting to think some of the more sportier bags have done well from this place. I don't tend to find any of the like really nice bag names. Like right, I'm not finding any Toomey or anything like that here usually. But right, I'm always looking for that stuff. I've occasionally come across a couple Ospreys, Patagonias, that kind of thing. But usually by the time I get to them, they've been left behind because they're in just bad shape, right? So, but of course, going to keep looking. So headed towards the front of the store, where this is where their toy section is, and these little mini lawn ornament looking things looked pretty interesting. So I made sure to look them up before moving on. Uh, I wasn't too surprised to find out that there really wasn't a lot of value there, but I was like, you gotta keep trying to find areas where you're like, okay, maybe this doesn't have value, but maybe it does. All right, so I did cut out going to the books here. There was just nothing, and I also looked at the DVDs and media, and there was just not anything worth looking at. But I did head back to the hard goods section here, right? Like I said when we were looking at the Saber stuff together, I'm just trying to learn this category. So it's similar here. I went through this section, just kind of taking a methodical look at everything. I think I was a little bit more methodical at Savers. I made sure to pick everything up, and I was looking for brands. And by the time I got to here, and I right, it looks like I've got a good amount of stuff in my cart. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to look and see if anything catches my eye, and if it does, I'll look up the brand on that one. But otherwise, I didn't really put anything in my cart from over here. And you can see I was probably getting frustrated because the store was kind of getting a little bit filled up, And it's just hard to navigate some of these aisles, especially when you've got a cart, which I did because I wanted to be able to carry that slide projector around. So we're getting pretty close to the end of the video here. I'm gonna pop up the good old thumbs up here, right? Give my nice little spiel of if you've enjoyed this content, please do give me a thumbs up or a like. And if you're interested in more content like this, like I said, tomorrow I'm going to post my video on what did I purchase. So please go ahead and subscribe, and then if you want, you can turn on even notifications. That'll let you know when I actually post my videos. Sometimes when I end up saying it's going to be tomorrow, it's a couple days later, right? Life gets in the way. But that's going to do it for today, right? You can see that I'm just kind of looking and not putting anything in my cart. But once again, my name is Patrick, and thank you very much.